Hello DIY lovers. So on this tutorial we are going to teach you how to transform your hip from this to this. Yes, we are going to be teaching hip padding. If you want to learn the two methods for hip padding, this is what this video is all about. So please keep watching. You are welcome to Sew Junkies, and the first thing we need today is our basic skirt pattern for front and for back. Then just mark out your waist length, your hip length, your down of hip length, and then from the waist length you mark 1.5 inches down, 1.5 inches down. Then the second thing, on the hip line you mark 5 inches inward from the side. Then the third thing, you are going up from that knee line up by 2 inches. Then you are just going to use your curve rule to join all the lines together, all the points together, and you have this. You see, if you don't have curve, just try as much as possible to blend all the edges. You see me marking up and down. It's very important so that you don't swap the side. So we're going to do the same thing. Go down from the waistline by 2 inches. From the zip allowance you go in by 1 inch. From the down of hip you go in by 4 inches, and then up on the nip line by 2 inches. Then you just join all the points together like so. Make sure you don't have any sharp edges. Just blend all the curves together, mark up and down so that you don't get to switch sides, and this can tell on your final outlook of the hip padding. So just cut out. Don't forget the skirt, you are not adding much allowance, you are just adding ½ inch to join the front to the back. That's all for the allowance. You are not adding any other allowance, and you are using your exact measurement for this particular project, for this project. So this is what you have. You can see it's quite aligned. So the next thing now is to bring out your foam. I had used this for an earlier project, a previous project. So here I'm just going to cut it out so it doesn't get to waste. I'm going to use this for the sake of this tutorial. So I'm just cutting out. So you are going to cut two for each pattern pieces. You are just going to have two because you have two hips. I guess that's straightforward. So that's just about it. You know what we're going to do for the first method? We're going to sew directly on your lining piece, on your lining, while the second method we're going to be sewing it on a tight, so that you just have one hip padded tight that you can wear for your trousers and for other of your clothing instead of buying. You see, we always save money on this channel. Our DIY is not just creative, it is creative, it is easy, and it also saves you time and money. So right now I'm just cutting it out. I'm just cutting out my foam for this project. So you can see it's just flipping up. You can use something to just hold it for support. At this point you can actually pin. Sorry, I didn't pin. I was just so excited to show you what I did. So please pin it so it's easy for you to manage. So you can see I'm also marking up down. Up down is very important. I'm marking up down. That arrow is just to show me that that is the inward part. That is the inward part, and the other side is the side part. The side part is the part where you join back and front together. So I hope it is very clear. So let us hear in the comment section, if it's not clear enough, what you think about this idea. Like, I'm never that if anytime I'm going to use hip padding, I'm never going to have to buy the tight hip padded hip tight from the market again. And you can also make for your clients, you can make for your friends, you can make and give out as maybe a Christmas present. So we are done cutting it out. As you can see, I also cut a lining piece for I also cut lining pieces for each of them. You can see at that bottom, that black one is just my lining piece. Some people use interfacing. Some people use interfacings like a cloth stay, paper stay, and all that. So I just decided I was going to use lining pieces so that at least when it is washed it doesn't just come off or fall off. So I'm using lining pieces. You can actually use anything you like. So what I'm doing now is I'm just cutting out this side. I'm just trimming it out. I'm not totally cutting it out. It is just a trim so that we don't have sharp edges around our pad. You understand? Because if you have that sharp edge, it will just be showing. Anytime you wear it, it will be showing that the edges, it will just be showing that you are wearing a hip. We don't want that. Even if we know that we are wearing hip, other people should not know. You understand? Other people should not know now. Why should they know? It is our hip. Is it not your hip? It is our hip. So that's just what we're doing. We're just cutting out the edges so we don't have any sharp edges. Please just take your time to do this. You see what I'm doing? I'm just concentrating mostly on the edges. I'm blending the trim to the inner part of the pad. So please just take your time. Please don't cut it out totally to reduce the entire hip cut out that you've done, the entire hip pad that you cut out to affect it. So just take your time and trim. Just trim on all of the pad. After you're done trimming, the lining that I cut 4 pieces for each, 2 pieces for each, 2 pieces for each. And if you're seeing on the sewing machine, you see that I sandwiched the pad into the lining pieces. Like each of the pad had 2 pieces. So I just put the foam in between the lining pieces and then I'm just sewing down round. And the part I'm sewing round is that part I trimmed. So I'm going to sew it 2 to 3 times just so that it flattens it more. You know, when you sew on a foam, it presses it. That's the idea. So you've trimmed it out, you are also sewing on that part. You are sewing 2 to 3 times so that you have a good a very flat lay. So you are going to do this for all of the 4 pieces. I know you get what I'm saying. You're going to do this for all of the 4 pieces. So just trim out the excesses because I actually added excess about half an inch excess to the lining piece. It wasn't necessary. So you are just going to cut out, you are just going to sew down 3 times. I did 3 times. I didn't it wasn't less than 3 times, but you can do 2 to 3 times just so that you have that flat edges. So as you can still see me, I'm marking the up and the down on the lining piece because right now I've covered the foam. I can no longer see it, so it's the lining piece that I can see. So I have to indicate the upper part and the down part. Like, it's very, very important. If you make the mistake of taking the down part as the up, you definitely see that it will not be relaxed. So please, you just sew round 3 times, and then when you are done sewing, you go to your weaving machine and weave. You can still leave it like that if you don't have a weaving machine, but you weaving it will give it that, you know, this will not be on the outer part, the inner lining, but the part where you can see. That is, if you put it on the rope, you can actually see the rough edges. So see what I did? I just went to weave the edges. I serged the edges so that you have a very nice look. So what I'm doing now, I took the one front and one back, aligning it to the up and the down before sewing. It's very important. The up of the front must align to the up of the back so that you just have a perfect look. You can see the D on the front is also aligning with the D at the back. So, and make sure you are sure the part you sewn first. If you made the left side first, make sure when you are doing the next one, it's going to be flipped. It's going to be sewn on the it's going to be sewn for the right side of the hip. Please, if you don't get what I'm saying, just watch. It's actually easy to just follow through this particular tutorial. So this is about it for the joining of the part. So this is what like at this point you are done with sewing the part. The next thing is the hip pad placement. So you are going to place the hip on your lining. Now you've sewn the lining, you've also joined the lining. When you are sewing the lining, you are going to add half an inch, because you are adding your half an inch measurement to join the lining back to front, because the hip padding is half an inch foam thickness. So you are going to add half an inch to your measurement. So the first thing, once you are done with that, you're just going to go over to the sewing machine, mark out where measure 1.5 inch from the waistline, and place your pad at the seam line, where the seam line aligns together. Then sew it down, and then you sew it round like I am doing. So I believe it is just as simple as I'm showing in this video, even without a voiceover, even without a voiceover explanation. You're just going to get it at first glance, just watching, and you see how smooth it is. Make sure you use your hand to actually guide and stretch out, smoothing out the lining. So this is what I was trying to explain. Once you mark 1.5 inch from the waistline, just place your hip padding front side facing front side, and a back pad facing the back side. Make sure the joining part is facing you, and you just sew round. You sew straight down first on the seam line. The seam line is that point where you join the back to the front for the lining and for the pad. Then sew down the seam line, then you sew round. So that's for that. Adding your hip pad to your dress, adding your hip pad to the lining of your dress. So lovelies, it is time to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like, share, comment. We'd really love to know what you think about this video. So the next method is using an old leggings of yours. You see that old leggings you've been keeping, you can use it for this tutorial. And we are wearing it front side out, we are wearing it wrong side out. So now we're placing our hip padding already sewn, already joined, and already adjusted to the body of these leggings the way we wore it. You can see I'm just pinning. If you have someone that can help you out, it is time to ask for help. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just pinning. Please make sure you don't pierce or injure yourself with the pin. So just be careful as you pin. You see, I was just goofing around. So please, you see, the wrong side of the hip padding is actually facing us. You can see. Just do the same thing for yourself. Just pin. You know where your hip depth is. You know where the hip of your bone is. Just align everything and just pin. This is what you have by the time you are done pinning. So make sure you pin correctly, and make sure your hip pad actually aligns to each other. You don't want to have one hip pad up and the other one down. It will show in your outfit. So I'm done pinning. So I'm going to go over the sewing machine and just sew round. I'm going to sew round, and then I'm going to shorten these leggings to make a tight. I'm just going to cut out, and I'm going to cut it with a zigzag scissors. So what do I look like, or who do I look like? Anyway, let us get over to the sewing machine. So I've pinned it out, and I just took it out really carefully so that the pin doesn't injure me and it doesn't fall out. So I'm just going to sew round. I'm not going to do that straight sewing on this particular tight. Tight, the advantage is that it is stretchy enough. So for me, I didn't see the need of sewing it down straight. I'm just sewing it round. So if you like, you can actually just open that middle seam for the tight, just so that it will be easier for you to actually sew round. It took me a bit of time and utmost patience and carefulness to actually sew it out. I didn't want to lose it because I wanted to retain that leggings are not made with a normal thread, they are made with stretchy thread. So I just felt if I loosen it and start sewing it with a non-stretchy thread, it's going to always just tear or loosen at every given point. So I wanted to retain that originality that came with. So you're just going to sew around. Just make sure that you arrange and arrange so that you don't have any parts that is not properly sewn, or it is skews or something. You get what I mean? So you're just going to arrange it. So guys, this was a fun DIY for me, and I hope it is for you. So don't forget, like I always say, practice makes perfect. Until you practice what you're being taught, there is no way you actually truly value the lessons you learned. So please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and we have other videos that would definitely appeal to you. Please check them out and let us hear in the comment section. The comment section is where the real gist is at. So please try as much as possible to try your hands on this hip padding. It's going to be fun. It's going to test your patience. It's going to check out your creativity. You are just going to definitely have fun. You are going to have fun. If you're not having fun, let me know in the comment section, because the DIY on this channel, it's done in a way that you have fun as you sew. You see the difference. You see that the tight, if you even notice, the tight is a bit longer. I'm going to have to cut it down a bit. Thank you for watching. Bye, and see you on our next video.